Still in Brazil for now. Let me get the music going a little bit. There we go. That's the rhythm we used to. DMV in the house. That's what's good. That's what's up. Yeah, man. Yeah, so I actually had some as I lace up my boots. I had some people hit me up, and y'all let me know. I'm testing out the DJI mic again, but this time I'm doing a different setup. Just Drees, what's good, man? What's good? See you in here. Appreciate it. But yeah, so want to talk about my thoughts on Florianopolis and like some of the facts too. I think I wrote some stuff I want to hit down. I want to hit up in this live stream. Some little pointers I wrote them down. Um, some people were asking me about a few things here, so that's pretty much what I want to go over today. Is my overall feel of. I said Brazil. The title is Thoughts on Brazil in General, but obviously I'm here in Florianopolis right now, or in the area of Florianopolis, and yeah, I want to give my thoughts on what I think about the area, and also just I've been to Rio de Janeiro before, and I've talked to people who've been to other parts, Salvador, Bahia, um, and been traveling around recently in other parts of Brazil. So, and I got people in those places that are, there right now, even that I can reach out to and get a little bit more feel for if I need to. San Paulo as well. Um, but yeah, so that's what I want to talk about. And then if you guys got any questions, if you're here in the live chat, you got any questions about the area, this is the time to ask. This is the night, the day, evening, wherever you are, to ask about that. Because from here on out, I might be doing some more traveling. Might be within the country, might not be. We'll see. I don't know. I kind of haven't made my mind up yet. But yeah, that's what I got going on. Yeah, so we got little Arthurio. What's up? What's good? I can't even pronounce that name, but you in here. Appreciate it. So yeah, on that, a lot of people, the first thing is when you talk about Brazil, a lot of people are worried about safety, right? And I want to say, first off, in Florianopolis, especially in Santa Catarina State, but especially Florianopolis, safety is at a premium. There's not a lot of craziness that you would see in other parts of Brazil, like Rio de Janeiro. So yeah, it's not as big of a concern. Obviously, I would still be on your P's and Q's. Don't drop your guard for nothing. I mean, until you fill a place out. Don't take nobody's advice is gold when it comes to your safety. So yeah, just do your due diligence, do what you need to do, research. But I would say the only way being precautious or being wary will get in the way is maybe if you're too scared to go out and too scared to talk with people, then that's not, you don't want to be on that level. Even if you're in a dangerous place, you really don't want to be on that level. Just want to know how to move properly. But I will say in general, in Florianopolis, the island of Florianopolis, it's pretty safe. Now, I will say this. As soon as you step off Florianopolis, even, off the island, even though you're still in Santa Catarina State, a lot of people say it's totally different. The one thing I noticed is people's driving habits. It can get a little crazy, especially as soon as you step off the island. It's like on the island, it's kind of like it's a little bit of respect for But as soon as you step off of Florianopolis or out of the beach goer hostel zone, all that, man, some of these dudes, they'll run over your toes, man. Or women, you know what I mean? They'll run over your toes. So you definitely want to be aware of that. Stay vigilant when it comes to crossing the street. You also see, as soon as you get off the island, you see more homelessness. It's not at a crazy level like you would see in Rio, and I'm assuming Sao Paulo as well, but it's there. You know, they even have it in Santa Catarina. In Florianopolis, I would say you're not going to see it that much on the island. And the island of Florianopolis, there's no reason really for you to leave. A lot of people, if you're coming and you're visiting there, and then you're like, oh, I want to check out the other side of the bridge, and you talk to some local people, they be like, why? I was talking to this one young lady that lives on the island, and I guess she's, from here. And I was asking her about some other spot off the island. She was like, I don't know nothing about. She was like taking offense to it, like I don't know nothing about over there. I was like, dang, okay, it's like that. So I don't know. It's and then when I did visit outside, I went to a place that I heard like has a lot of like natural vitamins, So, well, actually, there's one place that they actually make the vitamins. So if you say you want, like, one thing I think I take a lot of, and I think I'm on my last day or two of it, is vitamin D3 with K2, right? And it's a certain balance. They say you should take it 3 times a day, or I think I take it once a day when I remember to take it. But I'm running low on that. So I found this place, and they can make what you want. So D3, they have it ready, but if you want it with K2, actually no, they have that ready too. But if you wanted it with a higher dose of K2, instead of the 50 micro units, you want 90. They can mimic anything, right? So when I went there, I was talking with some people around there and asked them about Florianopolis, and they were like, yeah, I don't know if they got this type of. I was like, why wouldn't they have this over there? I was like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I was like, you don't know Florianopolis that well? They were like, no, I never really go there. I'm like, huh? Like it's it's just right over there, like literally a 20-minute drive, and you can be on the island doing some stuff. They were like, nah, that's not. Unless I got a reason to be there, I don't go there. So I'm like, dang, okay. So I'm getting it from both sides. I think there's a little animosity. Obviously, there's a difference in price, right? So Florianopolis, things are more expensive. I would say some people would say it's one of the most expensive places in Brazil. I can't say. I felt like parts of Rio were more expensive. And I'm sure parts of Sao Paulo, being in the city, has to be more expensive. At least at this time of the year. Okay. Vitamin D, 30,000 IUs, but drink lots of water to avoid toxicity. Yeah. I think I'm doing 2,500 IUs with 90 whatever of K2, which helps with the toxicity as well. But I think they say you can take it up to 3 times a day. I've never taken it more than once a day. And the way I see it is, especially when I'm out here in the most of the year I've been within the Tropic of Cancer, so pretty close to the equator. And right now the sun is actually on the southern hemisphere, so we get a lot of sun. I get outside most days, so I'm getting a lot of that vitamin D naturally through the skin. So I don't think I need to go that high on I use. I would say if you're in the northern hemisphere right now, and you've been going through winter, then yeah, maybe. I know this might be over a lot of people's head, man. We talking about IU's of of vitamins, but even if you ain't into vitamins and all that, you need to look at D3. You need to look at that D3. I guarantee it'll do something for you. You pay if you pay attention to your body. There's some people, they're so out of it when it comes to being in tune with their body that they wouldn't even know if they got poison or not. You can hit them with poison, they wouldn't even know. They'd be like, oh yeah, I just feel a little woozy. I think I used to be like that. Like I could, the thing is when you do things that are good for your body, the effect is a lot slower and more subtle, right, so to speak. But they have a harder impact long term, right? But if you're taking good vitamins, eating the right food, I think the reason why for a lot of us, I'm going off topic, we're supposed to be talking about Brazil, right? But I'll get back to it right after this. But the reason why I think people don't do the right things, including myself, for their body, is because doing the right things doesn't have an immediate response. Like you take good vitamins, like, okay, well, I'm supposed to feel ready to go now. Very few things that are good for you work that way. But the things that are not good for you work that way, and they give you this this delusion that you got some type of superpower now, whether it's whatever drugs or whatever you want to call it, even sugar. Like they give you oh dang, I'm ready to go now, but it's very short term, and it's detrimental. It's just a quick fake out, and then slamming your body downhill for something that might take a couple months to recover from, if you did the right thing, like taking correct vitamins, eating right, and whatever. But the reason why I say it blends back into Brazil is because they do have a very health conscious culture here. Obviously, I think, and I will say this, fast food industry and bad food has definitely infiltrated Brazil. That's a fact. They have some overweight people here. They have some unhealthy people here, but it's still nowhere near the what we would see in America. I don't think no place can really beat America when it comes to a lot of that. I mean, maybe Mexico, you know what I mean? But the thing about Mexico that's strange is it's harder to see because they're normally smaller people, right? So since they're smaller, they might be wider than they should be, or plumper than they should be, some of them. But it doesn't, in our head as Americans, it doesn't register that they got an obesity problem, which I think they're like one of the highest obesity nations percentage-wise, Mexico. But because they're such small people, it doesn't click to us that they got a problem going on. But if you looked at videos from the 80s or something and look at them now, I mean, the whole world's gotten bigger, but you would definitely see, okay, yeah, this is what people naturally, or what the city naturally looked like, at least back then. So that's one thing. But yeah, I think here it's the fast food, all that stuff has infiltrated the culture, infiltrated the country, but there's still a health conscious culture here, especially if you're in a place that's close to the beach. So Florianopolis, same like Rio, they got the stations for doing pull-ups, push-ups, and dips, all along the beaches. If you step back, even some of the beaches that don't have, like, they're more of a natural setting beach, so they don't have a boardwalk, even some of those still have, um, you'll see people out there doing volleyball, soccer, all that. One of the, I think it was Campeche Beach, but we came back from a hike. It was about a 5-6 hour hike, and when we got done from that, we came down at this one beach, and it was the most active beach I had seen since I've been here. there was there was young people out playing, doing all kind of activities, and it was dope. I actually might go there tomorrow again. We'll see. But it's you see that a lot. You see even downtown Florianopolis, you'll have the boardwalk, and it's wide enough for probably 6 people to run side by side, go down, and then you still have the bike lane, just like you do in Copacabana, right? It's about that wide. So you have that in Florianopolis as well. And if you saw one of my shorts from about a week and a half ago, people were out there at night getting it in. I don't know if it was a twerk session or what it was. It kind of looked like a twerk session combined with a workout, jazzercise type of thing. But people out there getting it in, and I think that was like at 10:30 at night. And so I would say if you're a young person and you're in Brazil and you're not working out, you're gonna feel the pressure, because there's gonna be people showing up all the time with their shirts off, dudes with their shirts off, women, wearing, the whole tight spandex things, getting their jaw going, getting their whatever on, and yeah. So when it comes to working out, you feel the peer pressure, and if you don't, then you kind of just ignoring it. But it's there. It's one of those things. I think that, like I said, especially for younger people, if you're in your 20s, 30s, you're gonna feel it. But even me, being in shape, being in my 40s, or being in decent shape for being in my 40s, I think I feel it too. But then again, I've always stayed in a certain amount of shape, decent shape, and doing this YouTube thing is like the worst for that, because you're sitting down at a computer a long time, you're trying to get in the zone of editing, which is cool, it's fun when it's working out. Sometimes it's not so fun because it's not working out. You're just sitting there thinking and looking at stuff. But I think the more you do it, the better it gets, and it's easier to do in Brazil, right? Because there's a lot of outdoor activities to go do, a lot of stuff to film, and it's pretty easy to just like, all right, I'm gonna go out and film this, and as you're doing it, kind of put it together in your head what you want to do, or as you're on location, so to speak. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to do here. But I want to see if maybe, let's see what you got. So to tell you the truth, I only been to going back to this question, sorry. What's my favorite city in Brazil so far? I mean, I only been to Rio and here, right? I'm thinking about hitting up maybe north, I don't know, or maybe somewhere else in this southern state, the southern region. Even the thing is, it's going to start getting cold down in the southern hemisphere soon. So I think I got some friends that just went to Buenos Aires, and they were telling me, yeah, it's already a little chilly over there. So that's going to start creeping up this way. I think it's less than a 2-hour flight from here to Buenos Aires, Argentina. So I was thinking about going there as well. I still might, but yeah, we'll see. So I'm thinking Florianopolis right now. I've spent the most time. This is a place I've been the most time in Brazil, and I think that's because it's kind of easy to get along, especially this time of year. I think during December to February, it's like high peak time, and it's lot more tourists, a lot more stuff going on. I think that might be a different look, but with with all that traffic comes a lot of visitors trying to have a good time as well, and they're not just foreigners. It's mainly other people from Brazil, other Brazilians and Argentinians. And one of my Uber drivers was explaining to me, he's like, bro, he was like, from December to late February, he's like, it's on and popping in the clubs. And dude was telling me I think he's from Rio, but he had lived in, and it's funny too, because he spoke pretty good English and he spoke French, and we were dabbling in Spanish. We was dabbling in all three. I think he was just trying to practice them. But pause. But he was explaining to me how he's lived in different parts of Brazil, Bahia, Rio, here, and he said he liked all of them. You know, he said Bahia is cool. You know, it's he was talking about that. I forgot the particulars of what he was saying about there, but obviously, you know, he's from Rio, so he's like, yeah, that's cool. He's like, you just gotta watch out for, you know, the crime, and then the police. You know, there a lot of corruption is what he was talking about. But he was saying, he was like, hands down, Florianopolis is his favorite. He's like, hands down. He's like, the safety, the amount of stuff you can do in a small area, the beauty of the place, people are chill. They're not, I think Rio, I'll give them that too. The people are chill. Most of the people I met in Rio were chill. But when you combine that with, I think in Rio has more to do. Nobody can confront there. But and that's more consistently all year round. But when you talk about like safety combined with chill people, things to do, like outdoor activities to do, Florianopolis is winning in all of them. So far, I would say Florianopolis. Even my friend from Sao Paulo, I was about to go there. I think she's leaving today or tomorrow, this in a few days. So I don't have my Sao Paulo guide. Actually, I do have another person in Sao Paulo I could contact. But I was like, yo, it's hard to leave this place. And she was like, yeah, I know it's hard. You in paradise. So, yeah. Let's see what this next one is. How do you determine when it's time to leave a country? How long do you typically stay in one place? That's a good question. How do I determine when it's time to leave a country? I'm still trying to figure that out. How long do I typically stay? So right now, I'm kind of on a thing of at least 3 to 5 weeks. And that's, you can average that at about a month, right? But I feel like 2 weeks is just like, damn, man, I just now figured out what's around my area in 2 weeks. I just figured out the rhythms of, like, think about this. When you go a place and you're there for a few days, the weekday is different from the weekend. And then when people come back to work, that's when you actually notice what the rhythm of the work week is. Not even the first week that you're there. You just in it. So it's like, go through a couple days during the week, see the weekend, watch them come back to work, and get the rhythm of all that. And then also the nightlife scene, right? So normally, nightlife is not like a big thing for me anymore. I've gone out here. I didn't film it. And we went out a few times actually. Last time I went out, I met a Brazilian lady there. She's it's funny, she's not from this area. I think she's from close to Sao Paulo, but she was here for a work conference. I forgot what industry she's in, and even if I knew, I wouldn't say it here. But they had some conference meeting at the conference hall here, and I guess there's a lot of companies from around Brazil that will come here to hold conferences, which because it's kind of cool, right? Like I'm assuming they treat their top employees to that type of thing. It's like, all right, you're going to Florianopolis for this conference. Like, ooh, Florianopolis. Okay, how many days we gotta work? You're there for 5 days. You gotta work for 3. Okay, cool. I get 2 days at the beach. Especially if you're coming from a city like Sao Paulo, like everybody's gonna jump on that. You know what I mean? That's what you can use to inspire your workforce. I definitely, I had that vibe from her too, that she was, because we went to the beach the next day and hung out, and yeah, it was just she was relaxed and chilling, and so was I. And the only thing, it was that day we went to the beach, it was high winds, not so much on the beach, but the ocean was I was looking at it, I was like, yo, nobody better be in that water. It's funny because I've been to that beach before, and it was very, very inviting. I think I actually did a live Mole Beach, did a live from there. So it's I got in the water before, but this day it was like, no, I ain't even want to fly the drone. It was that choppy out there. So yeah, it's anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, but I would say normally for a country, at least a month. Yeah, at least a month if I have the option. But people got different things going on. People got a job they got to get back to, or whatever, back in the States. If the place is close to the States, even Colombia, I would say Colombia, you might can get away with 2 weeks if you already know your way around where you're going. And you just want to go and relax and maybe have like a little mini vacay and have it, especially if you know where you're at, whether it's Medellin, Bogota, Cartagena, and you can keep your cost at a certain limit, including your flight and all that you couldn't do anywhere else, then maybe it's worth it. Or if you got, a girlfriend or something there, of course you're gonna hit it up. So I don't know, it's kind of one of those things too. Like sometimes you go to these places and you meet some people that are cool and you want to hang out more, and that'll change everything, your time that you're gonna spend there, for me, because I can do that. But there's a lot of people out there who are in the same boat. A lot of these digital nomads who go to a place and they're like, I don't know how long I'm gonna stay, and then they just end up staying longer because they like the place. Fortaleza, yeah. So the term Fortaleza, it just means fort, city, right? Something like that. So I hear it all the time. Even in my last video, it had Fortaleza. There was an island that had Fortaleza in the name, right? So when I hear Fortaleza, but I know there's a Fortaleza up north of Brazil. I think it's in the state of Bahia. But yeah, that might be something to look into. I don't know. I got Brazil's such a big country, man. It's not like it's a lot bigger than Colombia. Even though Colombia kind of feels big, it's very diverse, because it's like you go to Bucaramanga and Bogota and Cartagena and then Medellin. They're just like so different. It feels like you went to different countries almost, because of the geography is so different. Like Bogota's on a mountain, bro, 8,000 feet. You know what I mean? Like you can't do no exercise your first 3 days there. I still love Bogota, but and then you go to a place like Medellin, and it has altitude as well, and it's very hilly everywhere that you walk. And you go to a place like Cartagena, it's flat, hot all year. Barranquilla as well. It's on the same. They're not too far from each other. But yeah, so Brazil is such a vast country, though. Like even where I'm at now, I met a young lady and she was telling me about her town that I think it's about a 4 hour drive, bus ride to the interior of Brazil. And she said, yeah, they get snow. I'm like, huh? Snow? Okay. So, yeah, I was thinking about even going there just to see it, And then they got some towns around here that have like a German feel. I haven't been to that town yet, but that might be on the list. Maybe I should hit it up because I don't see too many people covering it as far as YouTube videos. So that might be something to hit up, see how that is. Just for the culture, man. Just to say, we've been there. Let's see. From a YouTuber perspective, does home, wherever that is, still feel like home, or are you more comfortable abroad now? Yeah. So even without YouTube, I've always been traveling, whether it was to see family when I was younger, and then being in the military, and then being stationed overseas in the military. So, I mean, I just had a flashback like maybe 3 days ago of like being in the DMV, Maryland, DC area. And I was like, damn, that was the days, bro. Back in the like 90s, me and my boys or me and my cousins would be, we'd be mobbing, boy. We'd be mobbing deep, just out there, And all parts of the city, all parts of the area too. You might find us you'll find it definitely in Maryland, right? But then you'll find us in Northwest, you'll find us in Southeast, Southwest, Northeast, all the way up to Mo County, PG County. We was all over the place. And that'll be in the same day. We would roll around in a 3-4 car caravan sometimes like that. What was we doing? Man, most of the time we was looking for, he was like, oh, I know these girls over here. Just wilding, man. Yeah, it was a different time. So, that in my head is home, right? That in my head is home. And then I spent time in North Carolina too, growing up when I was younger. But I would say my time in North Carolina was like really when I was really young, and it was only for part of the year during the school year. Then I'd go back up to the DC area. But yeah, even in North Carolina, like there was a few summers where I stayed down there, and man, it was different. It was a golden time to be a kid. You could just run around, at least in that part of Carolina. You could just run around all day. You eat breakfast, run around, come back, grab some lunch, grab a bologna sandwich and some Kool-Aid, back out again till the street lights come on. Mom out there yelling your name, boy, get your ass in the house. I'm like, oh damn. Neighbors be like, hey, your mama calling you. So I've always been that kid that's outside running around. So home being home, man, I think I made like a mental shift probably more than 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, to that the world is my home. Yes, I have a past, I have a history that is in a certain place, but where my future is gonna be, I don't know. But ain't no place not home. It's more about how the people treat me. You know what I mean? How I feel. It's between those two things. How I feel. Well, the main thing is how I feel in a place, and how people receive me. Right? That's a part of it. They go hand in hand. Obviously, I'm always be American. I've said that before on YouTube, and I'm not gonna get that twisted. Like that, just like certain things, you're born a certain way. You can say what you want to say. You were born this. That's what you is to me. And I ain't playing the game that other people playing. So, um, yeah, if you that goes with your nationality too. If you was born in France, you gonna be French to me forever. I don't care how long you spend in America. Same way I'm American, no matter what country I go to. Even if I love that place, I blend in, I've totally assimilated, and I forgot where I was from. I I ain't gonna never forget I'm American. Because other people will remind you of that. If you do forget, other people will remind you. No matter where you're from or where you're going to. I mean, I got family in Africa, right? But if I went there and I was like, okay, I'm totally assimilated. I speak all the local languages. I got me a African wife, kid, all that. I'm African. People like, nah, you American. You know what I mean? It ain't even no malice. It's just like, nah, you ain't start off here. So that's it is what it is. Home will always be home in that respect, but the broader picture is I can make any place that I feel comfortable will be home for as long as it feels comfortable. And if that changes, go somewhere else, not a big deal. What's good, Corky? Yeah, you missed a few lives. Hopefully things have been well on your end. Yeah, we've been doing some things here. The videos. I don't know if you checked out the last couple of videos, but I've been trying to improve the quality of it, so to speak, production level. I guess that's what they call it, production. you get into this YouTube world and people want to use these terms. Just trying to make better videos. That's it. But yeah, they're coming together, trying to get it out. Looks like my rhythm right now is like one every 10 days. I try to make it once a week, but I don't know. I just find new things to mess around with, or story doesn't feel right. And for any of y'all that's doing YouTube or editing your own videos, that's the main thing. If you editing your own videos, I'm starting to realize the main trick is you gotta watch your videos over and over. That's where the editing come in. It ain't even really about what you're doing. Like, you start looking at the video over and over, you're like, oh, what is this? Cut that. Cut this. Cut that. Okay, let me add this. So you'll start off. I'll start off with a video that's like 30 minutes. By the time you get out, that thing like 8 minutes. So that's what we're doing. But it's all good. It's a process. Yeah, we're just going in the direction of that way forward. Even when we falling forward. We get back up, keep going. As long as we ain't falling backwards or too far off to the left or the right, we good. Even if we do, we just gotta get back, and even if we fall backward, we gotta figure out how to somersault forward again. That's all it is. Yeah, hit that like button, y'all. How many likes we got up here? We gotta see what's up. We got, I don't know, these likes ain't showing up over here. I see 0 like. I gotta like it myself. Hold on, let me see. Make sure y'all hit that like, man. We gotta support the algorithm. I need to start getting on y'all more about that. Supporting the algorithm, man. Support your boy. Hit the like button. Share the video. Share the videos, right? So I don't know if y'all saw the one video I put out a few days ago, but it was pretty good. Yep, I'm from the DMV, Ozzy. But I put out a video 2 days ago. Yeah, it's about 2 days now. And it was the high quality version of the boat video, because the one before that was obviously a live from the GoPro. And then I went ahead and did that whole day. Before that incident happened, that live, I went ahead and did, I was filming with the drone with this camera and trying to put the whole thing together. And so I got 2 videos out of it. Wasn't bad, I'd say. The one video with the GoPro is doing okay for me. It's a long video, but some action. You'll see my life-saving abilities probably in the first 3 to 4 minutes of the video. But yeah, man, we doing it. Okay, that's what's up. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's kind of a thing too. I think trying to put out videos. I'm thinking the rate I'm putting them out right now, I don't think I'll ever want to put out videos where I edit more than once a week. Not for me, not at the pace I can do it right now, because I feel like that would be rushed. Now, if I did a live, even a mobile live from the GoPro, that wouldn't count as a edited video. Even if I did bring it back and do a light edit to it, really wouldn't count. But as far as edited videos, I think I only have it in me for like between once a week and once every 2 weeks, but depending on what's going on with it, and then also my traveling situation. So if I'm moving destinations, it's going to take a little bit longer for me to edit and do some things. But I do enjoy parts of taking videos. A place like Florianopolis, when the weather's good, there's so many, it's hard not to bring the camera and the drone. It's hard because you be looking at stuff, you like, yo, I could do something with that. I could turn that into Picasso right now. Hold on, let me see what's going on. Or put the drone up on it. Let me see what I can do with these things. And, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, because, you might have your settings wrong or you didn't catch the moment correctly. But I even saw something today when I was on my jog. I was jogging and I saw these, I was like, damn, bro, I should go back and get I felt like I need to be jogging with my camera now, and pulling out the lens and getting on something. Because there was these, and maybe this is, another way of looking at things. But when you start dealing with cameras, right? I was having a discussion with some of the guys in the last video. We went out to dinner a few days ago, and I was talking about how cameras will make you see things differently. Like, you get a good camera, you get into it, you'll start thinking about bird watching. So out here, I was running, and there was these cranes, and there was like multiple cranes, birds, the bird crane, and they were all lined up, and they weren't flying. I think maybe because the weather was bad or whatever. But I was like, dang, man, if I could get close enough, get to the side, get that shot right there. Or then later on, one of them flew by and he was like flying real low. He was just chilling, just like, like boom. I was like, okay, yeah, I wonder if I get him in 60 frames a second, pan in on him. So you be thinking about these things, and it's I don't know, it's different. It's a different world. But that's what Florianopolis has a lot of. It has a lot of different things that will pull you in as far as photography. I talked with one guy, he was doing some parasailing, with the parachute, and then like they run off a mountain. And then we did that in Bucaramanga, outside of Bucaramanga, a couple years ago. But here you're doing it over an ocean. You're coming off a mountain, then going over an ocean. But I was watching one guy, and he was doing it, and he was packing up his stuff, and he wasn't in the main location where everybody does it. So I don't know if he detoured and landed there just cause. But I was like, damn, bro, like if you really know what you're doing, you can get around the whole island just with that backpack, the stuff you got in that backpack. He's like, yeah, I mean, like, long as there's, he's like, you have to follow the winds and make sure you're safe about certain mountain ranges, certain mountain peaks around here. But yeah, you can definitely probably cover half of the island from north to south or south to north relatively easily. I would say if you want to go from east to west across the island, that might be tricky because then you really got to know where you have to land. There's only a few places, but I feel like on the west side, it's almost all beach or areas that are not as populated as the other side. So, yeah. Okay, you said we got 18. Got 18 likes. Okay, that's what's up. We had 18 in the chat. I don't know if we still got 18 in the chat. Cool. Yeah, the drone, man. Yeah. Oh yeah. The drone with my friend. Yeah, I was talking to her today actually. She's doing some ceremony. I think it's Easter now, right? So she's doing something a spiritual ceremony. I don't think she's into the whole Catholic thing as much. But yeah, she's pretty cool, man. Speaks good English too, and she speaks French. What else she speaks? She speaks like 4 or 5 languages. I was like, dang, you doing it. But yeah, she's from Rio de Janeiro as well. I think she's gonna be living here. So I don't know I tagged her in the Instagram. So if you guys want to add her, she seems to be open to Instagram. I should have probably added her thing on that short or on that Instagram reel, but it is what it is. Yeah. I do a lot of recording with the Sony, man. It's I've been doing some research too. There's a new Sony coming out, and it's perfect for travelers. The ZVE1, yeah, has a full frame sensor if you're into this stuff, but it ain't cheap. But how small it is, it's not cheap. And I was looking at some things about it, and I'm like, the only thing it has over my camera is it's smaller. That's good sometimes, but sometimes you want to be able to grab onto your thing. I think that's what most people like about Canons. Canons have that nice, they're not small, but they have that nice size. Like you grab it and it's like you can gorilla grip that thing all day and it doesn't, even this one, it has a decent enough grip, but it's like my pinky hangs off a little bit. So I don't know if y'all into guns, right? Handguns. I'm just using this as a comparison. But my hands ain't that big. But a Glock 17, for any of y'all that know, Glock 17 is like a meaty grip. Like you can grab it, you can pop somebody like that. You can grab it all kind of ways. A Glock 19, for me, since I have smaller hands, I can probably do a lot of that too until my hands get sweaty. Now, when you go smaller, the smaller ones, I forgot the name of the damn thing. Glock 43. Glock 43 is like a little pocket, concealable gun, mainly for concealing, right? Slim, all that, and but your pinky hangs off. And if you have any gun, any handgun, if your pinky hangs off, it don't feel as stable. Even though it might do what you needed to do when you needed to do it, it ain't. You can't rock it as hard because of that pinky. I don't think it's as serious. It's not like that with cameras, right? The pinky thing, but the Sonys are like that. The Sonys, your pinky will. Even me, my pinky is dangling, so I kind of like cradle it a little bit underneath. Some people get around that by buying an attachment that actually holds more batteries, and so you have more battery life on the Sony, but the regular battery in the Sony rocks all day anyway. That whole boat day I was out there, we was out there all day. I think I came back with 52%, and I was filming a lot. I mean, what you saw is what you saw, and that was edited down, but I did a lot of filming with the camera that day. And I do have an extra battery, but I almost never need it. Yeah. Your walk around lives would be nice to make 2 a week. Yeah, maybe that's something. I did come out the gate here in Florianopolis with some mobile lives, so maybe I'll get back to that. Um, the thing is, I need to have a plan. It's like most days out here, especially when I link up with other people, there's no real plan. It's just like, hit them up like, oh, what you doing? Oh, okay, cool, let's go. Or nothing, and I'll just sit here. I'll be happy to just sit here, and if I can get in the zone of editing and just edit, right? Um, so that's the only thing. But yes, you're right, man. I'm gonna see what's up. Maybe I'll put something out tomorrow. Maybe I'll do a live tomorrow. We'll see. A mobile live. I need to figure out the best way to promote it though. I know a few tactics. Oh, editing app, Unrelenting Chemistry. That's a new one. You're a new one in here. DaVinci Resolve. That's what I'm using now. I was using for 2 years. I was using LumaFusion on the iPad because my thinking was this: when I first started YouTube, doing it for real, or trying to do it for real, right? I say I'm still trying to do it for real right now. I was just like, yo, I'm gonna just use my phone, my iPhone 12 Pro Max, which I still got, and film with this, or maybe the GoPro. I did have an Osmo Pocket in the beginning, but I know we talked about it with some other YouTubers, and it's just like too narrow, you know what I mean? So kind of went to the iPhone GoPro, mainly iPhone. Using LumaFusion, which you can edit on the iPad and also on the iPhone. So that was cool, right? It's right there, boom, boom, boom. But then stepped up, got this camera. I was like, yo, I need to think about this software change. And then somebody kicked me a video about some editor, and he was talking about DaVinci Resolve. And I was like, hold up though. I was looking at it, and the crazy part about DaVinci Resolve is you have an edit tab, right? You edit down there at the bottom. Then you got a color tab, which everybody, even if you ain't into editing, you probably heard, oh, this is colored in DaVinci Resolve for years. That name is, I've heard that name before, even if I didn't know what it was. And then they got a audio adjustment page at the bottom, and that's not all the tabs they got. They got some other 3D compositing tab, which I spent like an hour yesterday trying to do this one effect just to scrub it, because that joint is like high calculus, man. It just gets deep. I could explain it, but I know most of y'all don't want to hear about that. But yeah, DaVinci Resolve is the one, but then beyond that, so even without the editing tab, you can go to the cut tab. The cut tab, a lot of people will act like it's nothing, but the cut tab does everything that LumaFusion did. So if I want to act like I'm in LumaFusion but be on DaVinci Resolve, I just go in the cut tab, and it's basically the same. And then if I want to sometimes you be doing stuff, you're like, oh, I wish I could do this. I'm like, oh, I got the edit tab. You tap over to the edit tab, and then boom, you can go deeper. And then when it comes to audio, but it's crazy because you can do a lot of deep stuff in all of them. It's just like a different way of doing it. But if you want to go real deep into audio, you go to the audio page. And so that's kind of what I've been doing. It's mainly cut, edit, audio. Those are the pages I mess with. And I'm learning, and the color tab, sorry. I'm learning, and that's what I'm applying here. I would say if you're just getting into it and you started messing with DaVinci Resolve today, you're gonna need a few months to get up to speed. But that's least I did. I don't know. Maybe you learn faster learner than me. How hard is it to stay out of romantic relationships that will hinder your travels? Man, staying out of it. I will say a lot of times, man, for me, you meet some people, if it gets to that level, one, because especially a lot of these countries, like a lot of women ain't taking you that seriously on your first visit anyway. You just get the feeling of that, right? Like they're like, all right, y'all cool, y'all doing your thing, and it ain't that serious, right? But then when you come back, or if you're gone and you come back, you see him, and then you come back again, then you start getting these messages like, you're like, oh, what's going on? Like, like it just depends on this. I would say I've only like encountered it where I had to maybe do some shucking and jiving like twice. Because most of the time, they see what you're doing, they see you traveling and all that, so they're not really trying to commit. Now, sometimes it's a bad thing because you might be like, hey, you might be the one. You know what I mean? You might be, had me over here for, stuck in this country for a year straight, and then coming back with diapers on my next on my next trip. You might be that one, but they see you as somebody wandering around, so they're not taking you that serious. So it cuts both ways. Sometimes it ain't just the fact that they know you traveling and you ain't got a lease on an apartment. They can pick up those signs. Yeah, it's either that or the Fuji H2S. I would say, bro, I mean, unless you're doing your research and you know something about the Fuji that you want to do, I would say, man, just do the Sony, bro. Sony killing the game. They got the lenses, they got the aftermarket lenses, they got these. I was watching this video today. This dude was talking about some crazy lens that got this, lets in this amazing amount of light. And basically he was saying like you could, I don't know, some wild stuff you can do with it. And I was like, damn, but the only thing is it's a manual focus lens, so it's like old school, like you gotta twist it to focus it. But he was saying it gives you the nice click, so it's not that hard. And I was like, damn, how much is this joint gonna be? Man, that joint was like $400. That's it. Like when you talk about lenses and crispy lenses that give you the effect and all that, man, something under anything under 600 and is working correctly is a steal, bro. I mean, this one right here is about $650. The lens you're looking at. So, and that's about as cheap as you can go with the Sony lenses. But you get third-party lenses that rock on the Sony. You can go all the way up and get crazy lenses that, do all kind of crazy stuff. It's Fuji, I don't think they got a lot of lens selection. I think Panasonic might be the worst when it comes to lens selection. But the Panasonic S5 II that just came out, the one thing that thing has is rock solid stabilization out the gate. So when you're walking around, if you want to do vlogging style, that might be that's the only one I've seen. I'm like, okay, maybe that is a good one. And then the new Sony ZVE1 that just came out is supposed to be pretty good for that too. But to tell you the truth, if you trying to vlog and do this YouTube stuff, that ZVE1 might be the one, dude. If you're talking about a real camera. Yeah, Sonys don't feel durable enough to vlog. Yeah, I mean, I don't know the durability of them compared to. I guess people say the Panasonics are pretty durable, right? But I don't know. I feel like the champ that everybody's been getting for video is, but it's a way more expensive camera, is the A7 III, and I think it has a magnesium body, full magnesium. But then also too, like any camera, you can get a cage if durability is like what you're worried about. So, how do I feel about Brazilian food? Top three countries for food. So that's an interesting point too, because here in Santa Catarina, Florianopolis in general, you don't get the Brazilian dishes like you would in Rio. And I didn't think about that until my friend who was she was in my other video. We was in Barra da Lagoa, and she had just came from Rio on a carnival up there. And that's one of the first things she pointed out. She was like, "Yeah, they don't even really have Brazilian dishes down here. It's like everything is like they got Italian food, they got steak and stuff. Well, not even the steakhouses, like Brazilian steakhouses. You don't see that down here, which is strange, right? I'm sure they're here, but and there's steak. You can get steak here, but it's not like in Rio. You hit up a Brazilian steakhouse and it's like what you expect. They just keep coming with the steak and all that. And one thing so the food variety here is not it's not that great. And I'm not a foodie either, so I'm not one of those people that go out and try all these different restaurants. The steak I've had here at different places has been good. I will give them that. The beef is on another level, however you get it. And I believe somebody was explaining to me they don't do corn-fed beef nowhere in Brazil. They don't believe in that. A cow must eat grass. Like you talking about grass-fed beef in America, they're like, yeah, what else is it gonna be? Like, so, and if any of y'all follow anything about food and health, grazing animals graze grass. Any grazing animal, whether it be a buffalo, cow, whatever, their whole digestive system is made to digest grass. They pull all the nutrients out of the grass, which we can't, and that's why we even started eating those animals, because they break down the nutrients from that. We couldn't. Then we eat them, their meat, and we get those nutrients. But when they eat corn, which they were never supposed to eat, corn and hay, it's not really their thing. So we're not getting what we need to get from them. Anyway, yeah. Top three countries for food. I would say Mexico. Mexico killing it when it comes to food. France, really good food. And I love African food, but I wouldn't say you go to Africa for the food, right? There's certain African foods that I really like, but I'm not sure everybody would agree with it. And there's only a few dishes I really like in Africa. I could eat plantains, rice and beans and fish probably for 2 weeks straight before I get tired of it. Or whether it's chicken or whatever instead of fish. But yeah, Germany has good food as well too. So France, they just got a variety of stuff, bro. Like you can get good steak in France. You can get good salads. You can get good desserts, ice cream, crepes. Yeah, I think some of the best salads I've ever had have been in France. Some of the best. I don't know about steak, but their steak has been up there, prepared. The preparation of the steak and all that has been up there. And definitely the best pastries and desserts. if you go to France and you try to indulge in their pastries and sweets and all that, you are going to tell yourself to stop because it's just too much. Like, even I forgot the name of the thing, the creme de whatever, but it has the crusty top, and a lot of places try to make it. I even saw it here last week. I forgot the name of it, but in France, it's supposed to have a crunchy top. Like, you got to crack it with your spoon on the top. It's like a glazed caramel on top, and then you go in and it's like cream. Yeah, the attention they put on preparing all that stuff like that, and then giving you the small spoon, and then, all this stuff is just another level. So, like I said, I'm not really a foodie like that, but even me not being a foodie, you just gotta recognize, like, the French don't play when it come to food, bro. It's a whole nother level. It's like, it'd be like going to Texas and talking about guns or something, you know what I mean? Like, they don't play when it comes to the gun culture out there. Same with the French and the food, man. Do I prefer hotels, hostels, Airbnbs? Definitely not hostels. They can be good. There's some ones that are good, and they're good to meet people for sure. Hostels, right? Hotels are the worst at meeting people. Yeah, just not. Even the people you meet at hotels a lot of times are not. They're not on that. They're on a different wavelength for the most part. Most of the time that I've met, I'm sure there's other people just like me doing the same thing I'm doing in hotels. But Airbnbs will probably be in the middle. That's probably like my second choice, Airbnbs. Hotels, number one choice. But some places it's not doable for a long period of time, or it's doable, but it's not the best option, right? So you're gonna be there. You wanna cook. You wanna have the ability to cook some stuff, even if it's just boiling eggs in the morning, boiling your own eggs. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you just want to have that ability to do that, or especially if it has a place where you can cook and it has a washer and dryer. And, you know what I mean? Airbnb is gonna crush it on that end because you're self-sufficient right there. You don't got to do, and then it all depends on, like, the after that, it's just about the area, the cleanliness of the place, obviously, and then the surrounding area, how safe it is, number one. Two, how close are you to the activities you want to do in the area you would be in. So, but I prefer hotels, especially when I first go to a place. If I'm new to a city or whatever, I'd rather go into a hotel that has a good name brand, or I know this brand, and then go from there, explore the city a little bit, and then maybe start looking at Airbnbs. And you know what part of town is good and bad because you done walked around a little bit or talked with other people, So, yeah, Southern Brazil is definitely more European, for sure. For sure. And them people can't throw that in the kitchen. I mean, when you say Europeans can't throw that in the kitchen, then what about them Italians? Who don't like Italian food? Who don't like Italian food? Mexican food and Italian food and Chinese food everywhere in the world. People know about their food. I would say American food too, maybe hot dogs and hamburgers, right? But that ain't no, you know what I mean? But Italian food, bro, even though if it's done differently than Italians might do it. I ain't even been to Italy, but I know Italians. I know real Italians in the States, and when they cook stuff, bro, they also serious about their food too. But I feel like and I could be wrong about this, but I feel like Italian food is more of a is more it's more like a family unit thing, more so than in France. I feel like in France they took it up. They like, hey, this establishment, we got a top chef, blah blah blah, and this here, like, you'll find it in every town in France. I feel like in Italy it might be more just like somebody cooks good food. This family does good food. This restaurant over here is good, but I don't know. I haven't spent enough time in Italy to speak on it. Yeah, West African food. That's I grew up on a lot of that, so it's it's for me. It feels like what's right, like what what my engine runs on the best, you know. Oh man, I try to find a barber. You making jokes, man? Man, this joint right here is a rough cut, but I just had to get something done. I just had to get it done off the sides, man. It's not the best, but the good thing about sponging your hair is, you really don't. You can leave a lot of the edging work for a later date. And as you get older, these lines, these stuff start going back. Shoot, man, you might see me just cut it all off one day. I've done it before. I'll do it again. Just cut the whole thing off. Like, I don't want to deal with nothing right now. This whole, especially how it was before, it's like, dang, you gotta brush it, comb it, and it still look crazy. So, yeah, I would say that's the only thing I miss. Oh, not the only thing, but that's one thing that I definitely miss about the East Coast is not everywhere, but especially like even in the DMV, there's a lot of good barbers in the DMV. The DC, Maryland area. Actually, I can't even speak for the Virginia side because I went to one place in Virginia, in Arlington, Virginia. Not Arlington, Alexandria. Trash, man. Trash. I was like, no, I ain't getting it. You so trash, and you don't even care so bad. I ain't even getting my cut nowhere in Northern Virginia. Nah, not doing it. Not if I'm this close to the city. I feel like in DC, I could just go to a random barber and like, oh, there's a barber shop right there. Go ahead, boom. They gonna get you up to speed at least at a certain level. It's probably better than a lot of places. They gonna look at your corners going bad. They be like, oh yeah, we already got they already know the magic to do. You know what I mean? You ain't gotta say nothing. That's all they do all day. Tonight I was gonna link up with a friend and head out. It's supposed to be some musical event tonight, but I think they got she said she had to do her other thing. The other thing too is, man, the weather. The weather's bad for tonight, and I think maybe even tomorrow, and then it's supposed to get better all the rest of the week. So didn't go out last night. When was the last time I went out? I think I was out. I went out last weekend. That's when I met old girl. Y'all haven't seen her in the video, the one I'm talking about. But met her at some club. It was, I will say this, the place I went, I knew that area because I stayed at a hotel right there. I think I even did it. It was even on the live, but we walked by there during the day. But it has a bunch of restaurants and all that. And I didn't know that there was these little clubs right back in the corner right there. Like, you wouldn't even know. Like, you had to walk through this restaurant area, and then you take this elevator up, and then boom, you're over there, and you're in this club. And this club was small, but it had a live band playing, and the crowd was, I would say most people in the crowd were probably, it seemed like nobody in there was under 30. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a young, it was definitely like a professionals type of atmosphere. So the women in there wearing nice dresses, you know what I mean? The heels on, looking the part. It's funny because dudes could be in there wearing like what I'm wearing right now, nothing too. But I feel like the women were dressed up a level above most of the guys in there. I wouldn't say, I don't think I saw any guys in shorts and flip flops in there. But I think, if you had Vans on Florianopolis, I think if you have pants and something like Vans shoes, which I didn't have on, I think I had my hiking boots on. But I think you're good anywhere with that. Like they can tell you're of stature, so to speak. I'm in Florianopolis, Brazil. Do I want kids in marriage? Do you feel like it's too much for the traveling? I mean, I feel like this. I feel like those are good things. I don't feel like they're kids are good. Marriage can be good as long as you are doing it smartly, right? And I feel like you can still do that in travel, right? It depends on how you set your life up. I do think it's harder, right? Because not a lot of people are privy to that. Not a lot of people are thinking that's even possible. So that's one thing about a lot of these countries, especially Latin American countries, even African countries. When you go to, if you're traveling around a lot, they're obviously thinking you're not serious. You don't want to be serious about anything. But that doesn't necessarily have to be true. I feel like a lot of society hasn't caught up to the options we have today. So, and a lot of what's being pushed out there is anti-family, anti-kids, all of that. But they act like you can't do this, traveling, and have a family. But yet people did it before in the past. Maybe you couldn't travel as far, but it was harder to travel. People were traveling on foot and horseback and had family. And now you got planes, hotels, Airbnbs, and people are like, oh, you can't do that in travel. People don't get it, man. I think people gotten brainwashed into being too soft. It's the best time to have a traveling family. But I don't know, man. Like a lot of people have been sold this fallacy of stay in one place, do right here, and raise a family, and don't do nothing else. When now it's easier than ever to travel with a family. Especially if you're talking about 2 adults and 2 kids, or one kid. Do you know what I mean? I was thinking about that, traveling with kids. I was thinking about that about a week ago, because I remember when I first traveled overseas, I was 8 years old, and travel was different, bro. Every country in Europe had its own currency. There was the French franc. You go to Germany, you got to switch it over for the Dutch mark. You know what I mean? How many travelers actually have dealt with Dutch mark or the French franc? You know what I mean? That is still out here traveling. You know what I mean? Like you had to deal with all these different currencies, bro. And you had to go to a currency exchange place to change it, because you wasn't using no ATM. It was all cash. I remember that. I remember even going through Amsterdam airport, and I just remember being flabbergasted by all the, like, I don't know what was going on back then. I guess we did have terrorist attacks back then. I remember Pan Am planes kept getting blown up, but there was women in Amsterdam airport. They were all tall blonde women. I'm like, damn, you got to be tall and blonde to work here. And they used to all wear skirts in the airport. Like even airport security women, they were all in this very feminine looking attire with skirts and high heels on, but carrying a AK. And they were looking at this little black kid, they were always, smiling at me. I was scared as hell of them. But I was like, dang, these ladies tall, man. But yeah, it was weird back then. But I appreciate, my dad did get me out of the country early, got me exposed to European and African culture, because a lot of times we would stop. I think I shared this before, but we would stop in Europe on the way to Africa. So might spend like a couple months in Togo or Ghana. Actually, most of the time back then it was in Togo, but we might stop in Europe for like 2 weeks or so. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, why not? Why not? Obviously you got property in Africa, right? But buying more property, um, because I got family in Africa, that's a possibility there for sure. Outside of that, and that's a unique case for me, right? I'm not, I don't feel like I'm venturing that much. But I would say if I wanted to venture out and get some property, I would say maybe Colombia, or maybe some place in Asia if I got enough intel on it. And I got a few places in mind. I'm not gonna share that just yet, but I got a few places I want to check out or get more information about in Asia. That might be an option because when you say these things, you're like, oh, you talking about getting property in Asia and this place and that, but you can probably get property in 3 different countries around the world, and it still will be cheaper than if I bought one place in the DMV. You see what I'm saying? I'd still have, more money left over, even if you could, just pay down cash on your properties, right? If you had that ability, it would still be cheaper than one place in the States. I mean, I guess you could go big and get, ball out for real, but yeah. Yeah, man. So my people in Togo and Ghana, bro, both of them. So we doing things over there. It's the whole West African piece in general. A lot of things you can get done over there versus like other countries, especially if you have family, right? It's easier to get things, maybe not easier, but you have a better possibility of getting things done. There's some other places. I feel like Brazil seems almost like a black box when it comes to getting things done. And I really wouldn't, even if I knew the ends of how to get things done, I really wouldn't trust it. I don't know how. I don't trust their the legality of me being an American and investing here. What's the standing of that? Is it solid? You know what I mean? I mean, nothing is solid, even in the States, right? But I feel like with Brazil, I feel like they could easily easily fuck over American, and they won't even. Yeah, he American. Don't worry about that. He had a what? He had 100,000. Oh, don't worry about that. They brush you off like it's nothing, and then have you paying more as you fighting in court. You had another 100,000, and then they just laughing all the way to the bank. I feel like it's I feel like there's the reason why I feel like that because I don't see enough Americans here doing it, right? And until you got a base of people doing it, imagine being the first American to try to do something in a certain country. Unless they really, really like you, like I'm talking about you in with the government, you gonna get messed over, bro. Because they see you as a money faucet. So I just think in general in Brazil, I don't see enough Americans in general doing business or owning property. And I'm not in those circles. Yes, I'm sure there are Americans that own property here. But how long have you owned property here, or how long have they owned property here? And I feel like until there's if you try to, I feel like if certain parts of even Colombia, right? I feel like there's enough Americans there that if you got messed over, it could be looked at harder because there's a network of like, okay, all the Americans, we ain't getting no more American investment. That's gonna hurt. Or we getting less of American investment, that's gonna hurt. Same with parts of Mexico. I'm not exactly sure because I know Americans got messed over in the 80s. I heard Mexico took everything back. I know one of my buddies in California, he's from San Diego. His dad was explaining that, how him and his friends had places in Rosarita, Tijuana, all that. And then I think maybe like 85 or something like that. The Mexican government just it was like one day. Like you got one day to get all your money out the bank. He said some of his friends got some of the money out, but their properties, they just took it. I was like, what? Yeah, can't have that happening. So I don't know, man. Like to tell you the truth, it's owning property. I feel like certain. Here's the thing: if it's a good enough deal, and you're gonna be living there, you gotta think about the break-even point. So let's say you paid $60,000 for a place, let's say in Colombia, and you was living down there for 4 years, 5 years, and then something happened, some instability happened, and then you had to bounce, and whatever, they took it back. It hurts. You don't want that to happen, ever. But let's say it would happen in 10 years. Still hurts. Don't want it to happen. But you got your money's worth out of that one, bro. You know what I mean? Now, if that house was $250,000, and then they coming in 4 years later, nah, that's not a good look. That's never good. But especially in that case. Okay, what's my favorite city outside of the States? I don't know, man. Which country has the most beautiful beaches? I'm gonna try to answer both of them, but favorite city outside of the States? I don't know. Guess it depends on what we talking about. I mean, to tell you the truth, it's weird because like my whole favorite thing will be shifting all the time. If you'd asked me this 2 years ago, or somebody did ask me 2 years ago, and I probably said one place. You ask me today, you know what I mean? I will say this. This year, I probably had the most fun slash relaxation fulfillment here in Florianopolis and then in Medellin the last 12 months. But yeah, then other times it might be a place in Europe, in Germany. Munich is a good time, bro. It's not cheap. So that's the thing. Like, it's weird too, because I do think some places are cheap, and that's a benefit. It's a benefit of being in that place. It's something I like about a place, right? The cost of living being low. But it's not everything. And then what I'm starting to realize more of now is it's a balance, right? Like some people want to go for the cheapest places and try to maneuver smartly. I'd rather go for the higher end places and maneuver smartly. Now that's what I'm thinking I need to start doing, right? Or maybe find a place like Florianopolis is kind of like on the world stage of things. It's not that expensive, right? It's really not, to be at a beach town, a beach island with all that stuff accessible. But it's just not the cheapest, right? It's not Colombia cheap, but it ain't, put it like this, it ain't Cancun expensive either. So think about that. Like, it's not Cancun, definitely ain't Cabo expensive. So it's a nice, when it comes to that, it's just, you got to get down here. If you can bear the flight down here, get down here, then you have a nice, safe place. It's not as popping as some other places. Definitely not as popping as like Cancun, no. But especially if you came down here with like with your wife, girlfriend, whatever, kids even, yeah, you could have a good time down here. I will say the language barrier is something. A lot of the hotels will have at least, I feel like they got like one English speaker. Most hotels, hotel I'm at now, they got a few English speakers, which they speak really good English, which is crazy. And I appreciate it. But it depends on what time of day. It's like the two good English speakers are always working together. So whenever I come down and then they're there, I'm good. And then when they're not there, it's one lady speaks Spanish. So that works out, because it's funny, like being immersed in Portuguese. And I will say I probably need to get out and try to speak more Portuguese when I'm out there. But I feel like being here, like my Spanish ear is like heightened now. So when I hear Spanish, I'm like, I can hear that. What they say? Oh yeah. I'm excited to speak Spanish now. Like, so a lot of people here, well, actually, I think even today when I was getting ice cream at this place, yeah, I said ice cream. The one girl, she knows I speak English, but there was another girl there who was new, or I never seen her there. And then I was like, she was explaining something. I was like, huh, what's that over there in English? And then she went to Spanish. So then we were speaking Spanish. But it was like, it was just seamless. It was like, like she knew I didn't speak Portuguese. She figured out I didn't speak Portuguese. She went to Spanish, and then boom, we was talking. Yeah. What's good? What's good? If your bankroll is tight, the states ain't a bad place to own property. Like you said, it's always be home. Yeah. I mean, I feel like for me, property still has to have a purpose. Like I can't just I've done the whole landlording thing with property in the States, and I don't like it, man. I don't like dealing with all that shit. I don't like dealing with tenants and shit. Although I did kind of, after the years, I did kind of like my tenants because they were some grimy Guatemalans, boy. They called me up. Hey, the toilet is broke, man. I be like, yo, what you mean the toilet broke? It don't flush. We gotta get this fixed this weekend. I'm like, oh, bro. And I be in Colombia someplace, right? I don't tell them that. I don't even think he didn't even know that he didn't even know that I spoke Spanish, right? But so he would call me up with a broken English, you know what I mean? Hit me up. But the good thing is they were handymen, so carpenter, landscaper, all that. So, oh, the toilet broke. Like, oh man, all right, man. Let me go ahead and buy this joint off Home Depot right quick. Boop, 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 on the app, the Home Depot app. Hey, go over to the Home Depot in Langley Park, man. Pick it up. Yeah, all right, cool. They go pick it up, put that joint in. Bam, everything good. Ain't have to call no handyman, nothing. You know what I mean? They doing it. So I did like that about them. I mean, the only thing is, like, every year around Christmas time, they would be super late with the rent. Well, they was always late with the rent. But I think they still probably owe me for a couple of Christmases. You know what I mean? I'll be having a bleeding heart during Christmas time. While they over there drinking and partying their rent money. But they give me a good story though, a good sob story. Cause I ain't the easiest person to deal with when you owe me money. I ain't the easiest person to deal with when you owe me money. But with all that other stuff, you know what I mean? Like, when stuff go wrong and they help me deal with it, it's like they got credit that I can't, there's intangible. You know what I mean? It's intangible credit. But I still a headache, man. I ain't like dealing with that stuff. But I dealt with it to a point. Yeah, man. So yeah, I don't like the landlord stuff. See, and I might go into this. I probably need another YouTube channel to really go into this, or maybe like a different forum, maybe like a Twitter vlog or something like that. But real estate versus investments all day, bro. I'm talking about whether it's, stock investments, any, all of that. Because you mobile, bro. You in this world now. I feel like real estate is good if you want to be there. If you want to be in that place, it's great. If you have to have it because of family, all that, you got to do what you got to do, right? Like, that's part of and it's nice that it could be an investment at the same time. But people be under this delusion that regular real estate is better than investing in a stock market. I would say individual investing. You crazy, bro. Especially if you ain't never did investing. Because most people who say that ain't never did investing for more than 5 years. They haven't looked at the dang numbers. So, yes, I get it. If you're gonna live somewhere versus paying rent, and you want your place you're putting money in every month to appreciate, yes. But if you look at the market and what it does, and then it's not even that hard. The only thing is, You have to really be a critical thinker. You cannot let the news inform you 100% of your decisions. You have to look at the news, see what they're talking about. Maybe if you looked at this news long enough, you see what their track record is. If they made mistakes, do they even go back and talk about their mistakes? Okay, most of them no. But then you got to look at the charts yourself. Look at history. History is always your first thing you should be looking at. You look at something, look at the history, what it's done. That's the story, bro. Forget what they talking about on the news from last week. Pull that long history up. See what it did. As far back as you can go. And then chop back to where you can remember what happened. Oh, back then, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So until you most people ain't critical thinkers because it hurts. It burns calories to think, bro. I'm about to go off on a tangent. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Not here on YouTube. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. What city would I not go back to visit? Man. Let me think. What city was I in that was like, That's a hard one. See, that's the question a lot of people ask, right? They were like, what's the worst place you've been to? Or what's the best place you've been to? I don't know. So I will say this. I spent a lot of time in Tijuana, right? Especially during the pandemic, everything, right? Things were functioning there. Even before all that, when I was living in San Diego, had a friend down there that I used to check out. Actually, I was talking with her yesterday or the day before, a couple messages. But yeah, I used to go kick it with her and the family down there and all that. But I would say it's one of the places right now. Actually, I would even say San Diego. I need to go back to San Diego, but I don't want to go back to San Diego. Just because I feel like even Tijuana now, it's bled into there where the prices and everything have just gone up so dang much. And it feels like the quality of life has dropped. So it's like, I mean, last summer, dang, I got something in my throat. Last summer, I was in California, did Vegas, then went back to San Diego. And I don't know if it was that weekend or what was going on. Bro, you couldn't find no hotel, nothing, for under $200 per night. And what I ended up staying at was $300 a night. And it was, I only stayed there like maybe one night because I was just outraged, man. I was like, what is going on? I was looking at everybody else who was getting rooms. I was like, what are y'all doing, bro? Like, I know you can't afford this joint. I see you with I see your car, man, and all that. What's going on here? And I don't know. I saw that as a sign of total disrespect for people. I don't care what's going on in San Diego that weekend. Nothing was really going on that I know of. But I was just like, nah, man, I can't. I forgot what I did after that. I think I just packed up the car and headed east. It was like, yo, I just need this one night to rest. I'm getting up in here. and I'm out. I'm going. I ain't stopping until I get to Arizona. You know what I mean? And of course, things got back down to normal there. But that kind of like, I'm like, y'all, or maybe, or did I go back to Vegas? Because Vegas things were cheap. I stayed at. Some of y'all ain't gonna agree with it. I stayed at the Trump Tower. I stayed. I stayed in the Trump Tower, bro. They had the best deal. It was like $120 a night, and that room was hooked up in Vegas. I know Trump Tower don't mean nothing. It's just the name of, Trump name on it. Don't mean he, I don't think he funded that thing or not. Either way, everything in the room was gold. It was like, what do you call it? Like a gold finger, gold slinger, whatever, from the Austin Powers movie. Everything there was gold, and it was straight, and then you know how Vegas is, right? You can go certain days of the week, you can get rooms for really cheap. I don't want to go too cheap in Vegas, just because I stayed in one room one time. I saw it was a good deal. It was like something. I was like, oh, okay, let me get this room. Man, I walked in the room. Bruh, it smelled like, and this is something I've never experienced anywhere else in the world. I walked in the room and the smell of smoke in there was so thick. I was like, how am I not seeing smoke? How is there not smoke in the air? Like it was, I was like, yo, these motherfuckers smoke cigarettes and just blow it all on everything, just like, or maybe even crack. I don't know what they were smoking in there. All I know is I was like, bro, this wasn't last year, this was years before, but I had been driving all day, so I just like, man, I just need a place to lay down. Maybe I'm just extra sensitive right now. The next morning, when I got up and left, it felt like I had been smoking all night. Like, I think I had, like, the back of my, maybe it was the bed too, but it felt like the back of my lungs was hurting. I was like, yo, like, nah. I ain't never doing that again. If I come into a place and it smell like smoke, I'm turning around and getting my money back. Even if I can't get my money back right away, I'm still leaving. I'm sleeping in my car before I do that. Shoot, that's probably why I got gray hair now, just from that one night, But anyway, yeah, so I don't know. It's not a lot of places I wouldn't go back to that I've been to, but have I hit up Eastern Europe countries before? Yeah, I've been to Czech Republic, Prague. Been there a few times back in the day. I think last time I was there was like 2009. 2010, I went to Poland, Krakow, Poland. Also been to Hungary, Budapest. I was in Romania. Romania, when I went there, I think it was like 2000, must have been 2009 as well, 2010. I was in Romania and I landed in Budapest. I think that's what it is, right? Bucharest, Romania, Budapest, Hungary. I don't know. I get the two confused. But I landed in the capital, and I remember I walked around for some of the day, and then I rented a car, and I drove like 4 hours to the beach town of Constanza. And I was there, and I had just missed the busy weekend, like the last good weekend of the summer. And I met this girl there, and she was like, yeah, what were you at last weekend? I was like, oh, I heard this thing was popping. I'm here now. She's like, yeah, well, it all ended. I'm like, dang. I'm like, well, what you doing? What we gonna do? And Yeah, so I didn't stay there long. I just drove back, but I got to see some of the countries. Like you drive, the capital it was grimy, had that grimy feel. You know what I mean? It was. I did talk to some girls that I met there on the street. You know, not like that, right? But I was just walking, and I met these girls. I stopped these girls and were talking to them, and they were telling me about. I was asking about places to go to, clubs and all that, and they were explaining like, yeah, it's here, it's always a good time, and they seemed like they was giving me good energy. But then I was like, yeah, but I gotta go to Constanza, and they were like, oh, okay, blah, blah. Then I took off, and I was like, man, I should have just stayed there and party with them. Well, I mean, the beach town was nice though. It was good weather out there. It was August. Maybe it was the beginning of August too. It felt weird that they didn't have anything else going on there. But yeah, that's it for my Eastern European experience. For the most part, I want to go to what country is that? What am I thinking about? The city split. Croatia. Yeah, I want to go to Croatia. I want to go back to Poland because I never went to Warsaw. I want to check out that city. I heard it's pretty nice. And the thing I noticed about Poland when I was in Krakow's like a college town or whatever, but it was a lot of the women there spoke pretty good English. And it seemed like they wanted to practice their English. So I appreciated that. It was always some, if you wanted to find out more about the city and stuff like that, they were willing to do that. It was cold when I went. It was winter. It was New Year's. It was real cold when I went. So I'd like to go back during the spring. More people out there doing what they do. Because one thing I know about Europe during the springtime, as soon as it gets warm, they out there. They like, yo, we ain't staying inside. We've been inside all winter. It's time to get out and celebrate a little something. Yeah, that's right. Hit that like button, y'all. Hit that like. Where we at on them likes? I can't even see what's going on with the likes over here. My other situation don't even show me what's up. Let me take a look though. Hold on, let me see. Okay, yeah, we good. We got close to 30 likes. All right, that's what's up. Let me see. What were you doing the lockdown? And if that situation happened again, what country would you hope to be in? Mexico. I was spending a lot of time in Mexico. I was right in Tijuana. Well, I was in San Diego when it happened. It's funny because I had just left Ghana. They was talking about all that lockdown stuff. I had just left Ghana. Was on the East Coast for a minute. And then I drove out west. Got out west. And I was staying with my buddy, and then I was only gonna be there like a week. It ended up being like a month. I was like, this lockdown is happening, and I'm with him and his family. I'm just like, bro, like I can't be staying in under somebody's house rules. And it's not like they was putting rules on me, but you kind of feel like like you need to respect what they got going on. But I was like, nah, I can't. So I went down. I looked at the border in Mexico. I drove by, and the border was closed. So everybody was, in the beginning, everybody was accommodating, right? Because nobody knew what was going on. We thought it was just going to be there for like maybe a month or two, right? But I went down to the Tijuana border, San Isidro, and I remember it was nobody crossing. Nobody crossing. Either way. And if you know anything about that border, you ever been there? I think the first time I was down in Tijuana was probably back in 2001. You know what I mean? And ever since then, I ain't never seen it where it ain't just like a busy. And it was nobody crossing. It just looked like ghost town. I was like, yo, this looks like some alien invasion movie or something. But then I saw some border agents crossing. And they looked like they were, shift change or whatever. And they was walking across the road and I was at the stoplight. I was like, dang, so the border's really closed? One of the ladies there was like, nah, it ain't closed. You can cross. I was like, shoot, I'll be back tomorrow. Oh, yeah. So I went, got my stuff together, went back the next day, did a little filling out of what was going on, how they was approaching things. You had a lot of places were still open. You just had to do the temperature thing where they point the thing, take your temperature, which is all that stuff. Even in the moment, I was like, this is gonna look real fucking stupid years down the line that we ever did any of this. Anyway, so you had to do all that, wear the mask, but places were still open. And yeah, so I went down there and it was more manageable versus like in San Diego. They was like, oh, don't leave your home. So people weren't driving on the 5, on the Interstate 5. That joint was empty. I'd be on there driving. Just you could do donuts on the 5. Nobody was out there. Crazy, man. Man. So yeah, I think if that happened again, it's gonna be different. It ain't gonna be like that. I think there would be serious society problems if that happened again. I'm not wishing nothing, but I just think a lot of people probably realized what was told, what wasn't, and what wasn't. You know what I mean? Even right now, I saw something. I think Switzerland said they're taking back recommendations from all the jabs. Like, don't nobody need none of them. I think they just announced that. I saw that on Twitter. I don't know how real it is. So, but they said, don't nobody need nothing. And they said, a few people with a doctor's, a few examples might need it with the doctor's approval. But if anything happens to that patient, that doctor's liable. That was in the clause. That's what Switzerland doing. I'm like, yeah. They said like, oh, if you still try to hit them up at this point in the game, we watching that. We watching that. 2 weeks later, you good? 2 months later, you good? A year later, you good? Oh, you got what? What happened? Oh, okay, yeah, we're going after him. I like that type of pressure. That's what the pressure they should have all had from the beginning. I don't think so. Does Central Brazil get a lot of tourism, non-beach, non-coastal areas? I don't think so. It doesn't sound like it at all to me. I actually got I had a book somewhere, and it has even just this state. It has a lot of stuff to talk about. Even along the coast down here, there's one city that's very well known for Brazilians to visit, it's a lot of Brazilian tourism, but not a lot of outside tourism. Um, one of my boys went there, and he one thing that was noticeable is he said it's a beach, boardwalk, beautiful beach, all that. But the skyscrapers, they got skyscrapers right along the beach. So at a certain time of the day, the shadow cast on the beach. So it was like a engineering flaw, but like they kept making the flaw, right? Because you don't just put up all skyscrapers at once. So I don't know if I don't know what that's about, but people still go there and seem to love it. It's just, I think the beach culture is not as big there because of that, because of the shadow that's casted after probably 1 o'clock. Yeah, it's the interior Brazil. The only place I know, let me think. I mean, the only tourism I think of is in central Brazil, and that I wouldn't even say it's central. It's just the Amazon. Amazon tourism. People want to go and see the Amazon and animals and all that. And I kind of want to do that too, but at the same time, I almost feel like it's the worst thing to do for the Amazon, right? Going there and being a tourist and just being like, oh yeah. I mean, I kind of want to go there just to say I've been to the Amazon. I don't want to deal with the bugs, the mosquitoes, and who knows what else you gotta. I don't know if you need some special shots to go to that region. I've had yellow fever already. I don't know if you need to be, have an updated yellow fever to go there, because I've heard a couple things on yellow fever. For a lot of my life, you needed it every 10 years. But then I read something recently where a lot of places they're saying you only need it once. So I don't know. And then I think they got everything there. They got malaria. They got dengue fever. And I heard one of the guys I was with at the club last weekend, he was with a girl, and she was explaining how she had just got out of hospital because she had dengue fever. She said a lot of people in the hospital getting that down here in Florianopolis. So I don't know. I haven't heard from her. She's the only person I've ever heard say that. And I was she had some drinks. So I don't know where she been. I don't know if she's an upstanding person or not. So I took that with a grain of salt, because I've been talking with a lot of other tourists from the hostels and all that. And I haven't heard anybody else talk about that yet. So okay, you got yellow fever in 2020. They said it's good for life. That's what's up. Yeah, I think my first yellow fever shot was when I was 8. I remember it too, because that needle was big compared to me. I remember they said he got to give me a shot. I was nervous all day. All day I was nervous. We got to the doctor's office. My dad, stop being a baby. What you mean? I am a baby, man. I'm 8. I'm 8. I am a baby, man. And I think that needle did hurt too, because they didn't. I was all nervous about it, but it was like when you tighten up, of course it's gonna hurt even more, right? They give it to you in your butt cheek. But when you go tight, they could have told me that. You know what I mean? Like, man, just loosen up. It's gonna be worse when you tighten up. Maybe they did tell me that, but I was tight, and that thing just felt like I was getting stabbed. But then it was yellow fever. I think that was the last shot that I actually uh, panicked on. But then I had to get another yellow fever at 18. I think I got one at 28. You know what I mean? And then who knows when the last one was, but I think I've had. I know I had more than three. Well, I know I had at least three. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what. I don't know if the yellow fever concoction changed or not. I had another shot when I was in the military, and it was on my record like twice. And the one lady, I think before I got out, the one lady looked at it. She's like, "Why do you have this twice?" I was like, "Huh?" She was like, and it wasn't yellow fever, it was some other thing. She's like, "Yeah, you're only supposed to have this once in your life. Maybe another one when you're like 80 something." I was like, what do I know? I just be coming in. You know, I just do what they tell me to do. I don't know what's going on. Oh man, that is one thing about military, man. You just don't even know what you're getting in some of these offices sometimes. When you first come in, you go to boot camp, they got this one place you go through where you just walk through and you just they got these mechanical shots, so they're like a little air shot. So they put it on you, pop, 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 and you just hit right there. And you walk through it, it's like a row it's like 6 of them on each side. And you just walk through like bang, 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 bang. And you watching people before you go, right? You like, oh yeah, I'm good, man. I ain't gonna. And you laughing at that dude like, oh look, he jumping. Like I ain't gonna make me jump. He gonna make me jump. And you start going through the first one, pow. You like, I'm good. Second pow, yeah, pow. By the time you get to that 6th one, you like, oh. You're like, oh, they got me. I'm good now. Let me roll up out of here. Try to look tough. And then they give you that other one in the thigh. They call it a peanut butter shot because it's all like thick. So it's like stays there like a ball. I don't know what it is, but it stays there like a ball for like at least a day, and you gotta like rub it in. But yeah. So who knows, man? I don't know what kind of shots I got. It was a thing, man. Do what you had to do, though. But yep, I don't know what the situation is now with what they're getting. I do know if you go to certain areas, you're gonna get. If you don't have yellow fever, you're gonna get yellow fever, malaria meds, stuff like that. So that's the thing about Amazon, right? Like I feel like I would need to take some medicines, right? Because I'm gonna be real with you, right? Like some of us, we city dwellers. You could be tough as toughest guy on the planet. You could be John Jones. UFC, they got a fight tonight too, but you could be. I don't think John Jones fighting. I think Anasanda and some other dude. I don't know who, but that stuff ain't gonna. You ain't built for the woods, for the wilderness like that. So if you out there in them elements, the bugs, they gonna know. They gonna, oh, this dude from the city, man. He got that skin that's fresh. It ain't even been bitten for real yet. And them crazy mosquitoes come over and just they light you up, man. So that's the only thing that deters me from going to the Amazon. I feel like I need to do some deep research. Not to say that I won't go. I might end up going. But I feel like I need to do some deep research on that and prepare properly. Mexico or Brazil? So I've seen a lot of Mexico. Mexico's cool. So right now I'm trying to see more Brazil. Like I felt like I owe Brazil that. Like I'm gonna give it even if I left tomorrow, I felt like, okay, I know a little bit more about a different place in Brazil. If I came back, I know I could come to Rio. Although Rio, now Florianopolis, I know pretty well. The best place I know in Brazil right now, or the place I know the best in Brazil. So then I'd have to maybe find another place and figure out, spend some time there and see how that is. But it's yeah. Oh, you did boot camp too? Yeah, man. That thing was no joke. I did the 20, man. Did the 20 years. So yeah. Goes by fast. Especially when you're having fun. It's hard work. It was hard work, but there was a few trying times, especially in the beginning, and you always get some hard moments, but it's a lifestyle, man. Like once you get to a certain point, once you get past like 8 years doing it, it's what especially going in as a young man, you're going to you've built confidence in yourself that you can achieve certain things, that you can do certain tasks. And the one thing I really liked about it, especially if you were a knucklehead like me and you ain't want to be in a college classroom environment, reading these books, doing all these homework all the time, and a professional student, that still don't make no sense to me. I still like people like I could go to college right now for free. I ain't doing it, bro. Like I ain't doing it. Why? If anything, maybe I could use the GI Bill to fund some language school or something like that, which I could do, which I need to think about doing. But or doing something else vocational. But the thing is, man, like I already know me. If you know some young men out there that have knucklehead tendencies, get in fights, get in trouble, they're a good kid, but get in trouble, little stuff, maybe even big stuff, but it's mainly because of the crowd they're with. Young men are not meant to be sitting down the whole day. The whole evolutionary chain has made men, young men especially, to go out and do things. Be it a little bit of danger, be a little hungry, be a little cold, hot, whatever it may be, and learn from mistakes. That's how you learn. Being in it. Not theorizing about being in it. Some guys maybe can learn that way. Majority is not for them. Especially not when you're young. So I would say, I feel like, and this is just Tay's opinion, but I know me, and if I had a son, or even some of my nephews and all that, I can look at some of them and tell, like, you can't learn in the classroom. You just can't. Like I see it. You know what I mean? You need to do things. You need to spend more time outside than inside. You need to challenge your body physically, get to a point of exhaustion, and then, especially if that thing involves doing a task, right? Like you're doing something with your body, you're trying to do something, but you didn't do it correctly because you were too weak or whatever. You made mistakes. Now, come back, let's think about it, let's theorize on it, let's study the plan a little bit. Then when you go do it again, you'll be better. That's the learning most guys need, most men, young men need. History has proven that. That's how men that's how we got here. That's how we got to our current situation as far as the world being our evolutionary status, so to speak. But now they want people to go in and spend all day in the classroom. The sun barely coming up, you in the class. You leave the class, the sun about to go down. You know what I mean? What languages would I study? Spanish. If you're an English speaker, Spanish. I don't care what your family situation is, like, especially if you're in America. Spanish. Stop fronting. Like, the number, you need to get that Spanish under your belt. If you in United States of America, which is in North America, and all of South America, minus Brazil, speaks Spanish, what we talking about? Spanish. And then Spanish, if you're really good at it and you want to learn Portuguese later for Brazil, it would be I'm not gonna say it'd be easy, but it'd be a easier transition from Spanish to Portuguese than from anything else. So then you lock down all of the Americas if you speak English, Spanish, and Portuguese, because there are a few countries in Latin America that speak English. You already got that. Nah, not for me. Not for me. I had all my fun. I was like, in my head, I was thinking like, yeah, it's time to let the new crop do what they do. You know what I mean? Let them come through, do what they do. And they don't need to hear my stories of how things used to be, because they just gonna be mad. Oh, well, we ain't used to do it like that. You know what I mean? So, nah, it was easy for me. People like, oh, you can stay in and got more money. For what? Like, I made investments along the way. You know what I mean? I made investments along the way. That's another thing. If I would say, if you're in the military more than 10 years and you ain't investing, and you got a family going, or you have a family before you get out, and you ain't investing or learning to invest, actually, no, you should be investing at that point. Because you learn by doing. Learn by doing is, I mean, of course you're going to study, you're going to do some stuff, you're going to learn how you need to learn, talk with other people, whatever. But you don't need that long of building up a little base of knowledge to start investing. And you know, you got to invest everything at one time. You go in, do what you do. And if you ain't doing that by 10, 12 years in or earlier, you still gonna be a slave. You still gonna be a slave. Even when you get out, you're gonna have to you're gonna have to get a contract and work for somebody. So, because you got used to a certain way of life. And it's I was talking with somebody about this the other day, and they were saying how, yeah, well, you gotta do something. No, you don't. You ain't gotta do nothing. I'm not saying don't do anything. But what I am saying is, a lot of Americans are so caught up in always doing something all the time that they never take time to figure out what they want to do or what they should be doing next. You know what I mean? How long is that going to take you? Who knows? It might take you 2 days, might take you 3 years, you know? But if you know in your head you've done stuff before, you're a doer, you can do things. Your hardest thing might be taking a step back to reevaluate some things, or just taking a pause. Especially when nobody else, sorry, take some more water. When nobody else around you is taking a pause at that same time. You might feel like you up to nothing. It's not the worst thing. Even if that was true. But you gotta look at your own your own history, I think. And if you know you do things, you get things done. You know, because I feel like right now what's going on is a lot of we are living in the age of delusion. There's a lot of delusion going on everywhere. It's comical, bro. The stuff people are talking about. Oh, this person won this race and they not even supposed to be in this race because they're, gender, whatever. Like, for real, we really talk about this? Huh? This reminds me of, like, when you look back at history and you see maybe the Middle Ages or something, and you look at something backwards they did, and you're like, oh, how would people do that? We doing all the backwards stuff. Like, this time right now, they are looking at everything and be like, how were the people so stupid that they thought this was cool? And the funny thing is, though, we got video now. I don't know if they might try to scrub all this stuff, you know what I mean? When people was correcting them. But the people who out there defending the madness that goes against nature, I hope you ain't got your last name attached to nothing, because your whole line is going to be tore up in the future. They're going to eat them up. Talk about trolling. Yeah. People don't think about that stuff, man. It's gonna be a hard future for some of them. People gonna be changing up their last names because their grandparent went off on a crazy tangent about something that was directly adverse to common sense. I mean, we all could be called out for being wrong. That's different. But some people take it to a different level. Yeah. Yeah, man. So it's dang, it's been 2 hours. 2 hours and 24 minutes, man. Yeah, it's been a minute here. Yeah, so it's I think I don't know. I was trying to answer some questions about Brazil, especially Florianopolis. Like I said, I think I did get some Instagram messages from some people that were asking me about Florianopolis and some things here. I ain't even get to my book. Hold on, let me see. I wrote a few things down that I didn't even get to, I don't think. I think I covered most of it. Safety activities. Yeah. Somebody, you asked me about the questions about hostels, Airbnb, hotels. I went over that, gave my thoughts on it. Transportation. So that's one thing I got here that we didn't go over. It's I think Uber is doable in most situations. My friend rented a car out here. He came through for like maybe the second week I was here, and he rented a car. I only think he had it for a week. Then he returned it because it's just like it's kind of a pain to be parking everywhere. A lot of places they'll charge you 30 real per day. That's pretty much what they charge for parking. I don't know what he paid for the car, but he did take it on a road trip. I was gonna go with him, but I forgot what happened that day, and I'm kind of pissed off I missed out. But they did a road trip that was like 4 hours. Went to another town, the town I was talking about with the beach and the skyscrapers. He said the road trip went good. I think they had a toll they had to pay for at one point that he wasn't expecting. What else on that? Yeah, but then, it was the main reason he got the car. But as far as driving around Florianopolis, Uber or the city bus. The city bus costs about $1 per person, or maybe it's $2 per person. No, it's $1 per person. $1.50. Because when me and old girl came back from the beach that one day, there was a lot of traffic, and for us to get an Uber was looking not cool, and we was just looking at the traffic creeping by. It was like, oh, there's a bus right there. Where's the bus stop? Oh, bus stop right there. We just ran the bus. We didn't even have to run. We could have just kept walking. The bus wasn't gonna go nowhere. And got on the bus, and we paid $15, so $3 for both of us. And with traffic, that was about a 40-minute ride. Without traffic, that'd have been like a 20-minute ride. So it took us from, and that's the thing, the buses go to even, the beach, Mole Beach. If y'all saw my live when I first got here, y'all saw me walk almost all the way there before my GoPro died, and then I came through with another video. But yeah, we took that bus from Mole Beach down to Central Florianopolis, and yeah, it was $1.50 a piece. Pretty cool. We had there was a dude who was sitting beside us. He spoke pretty decent English too. He's from Venezuela. We ended up talking with him the whole ride. I think he was trying to, at one point, I thought he was trying to snatch up my shorty, man. I was like, yo, what? Hold up, bro. Hold up, man. I know you Venezuela, man, but you gotta calm down with all that. You know what I mean? But nah, it was cool. We ended up having a good chat, and then we got off, and yeah, it was a nice, comfortable bus ride, cheap, and yeah, easy. So I think getting around Florianopolis is Ubers it's more expensive than Colombia. I would say if you want to go from the middle of the island to the north side, which is probably, let's say with no traffic, is 20 minutes, 25 minutes. That's probably gonna be like an $8 Uber ride. Between $5 to $8. It's not too often you even see a $10 Uber ride. I think I've seen it once, $10, $12 because of traffic. And traffic was, when they have high traffic times, the roads aren't that big here. Well, there's not a lot of big roads here. And then there's only a few routes around the island. You can pull it up on Google Maps. You'll see what I'm talking about. So with that being said, you gotta, the they'll get clogged up fast, and the island becomes during rush hour. To get anywhere takes a lot of time. So that's the one issue we have here on this island. One thing I need to start doing too, to monetize these lives properly, I need to start. Let me see if I can still do this. I need to start putting the monetization on right away. YouTube be trying to slip by, man. They be trying to shortchange your boy. You know what I mean? Trying to make this money too. A little bit of this money without going crazy with the commercials or other methods. We don't need to do too much of that just yet. Kind of want to keep it organic, man. Kind of want to just keep it light, where people can come in, watch, do what they do, and just build the channel organically, build it off of what people want to see, right? And do some lives here and there. Somebody mentioned it earlier about I should probably do like 2 mobile lives a week. I would say at least 1 a week for sure. 2 might be, I don't know, 2 might be tricking the algorithm to do something else with my channel. You see what I'm saying? So then it turns into algorithm might be looking at me like I'm a live walking channel and trying to put me in that genre. But then at the same time, I'm trying to show you places with a more cinematic look, and you really can't do that with GoPros and stuff like that. So, to give a feel, give a vibe, to give a feel, give a vibe, you can't really do that from a live unless you're already at some event and it's a preset vibe. You see what I'm saying? When you're at a nightclub or something like that, then it's kind of preset. But then you got copyright issues, so you can't get monetized there. So yeah, I think that's what I do like about the ability to operate a decent camera. At least say operate it. I'm sure there's people who are like, man, you don't even know what you're doing with that camera. But to have some ability to adjust things, to set things a certain way, combine that with some drone work and then editing. I say editing because I've been using this screen here to do it, and it helps me out having a big screen. I think just by using something like this a few times, I think I've been diving deeper for longer periods into the DaVinci Resolve software because I have, a bigger screen to look at. I do like doing it on my laptop too. It's just some of the icons look so small that you're like, what's this? You don't get curious. But when you got a big screen, you're like, oh, what's this? Let me see. And you get curious and start playing around. You're like, okay, cool, I can do this. Boom, bet. So I was even thinking like, damn, man, I might need another suitcase just to buy me some cheap, nothing this big, but something maybe twice as big as my laptop, because I think you can get those screens now for a few $100s, HDMI output. But then you gotta have your own power source and all that too. But something to think about. Yeah, man. But anyway, I think it's been real, y'all. It's been we done covered a lot of stuff. I think we talked most about A lot of things we talked about Brazil was we hit it. We hit everything I wanted to hit, and some. I think that's it for tonight. But I appreciate everybody for coming through. We'll try to do something else soon. I got another video I'm working on right now. It should be out within a week from now. If I'm lucky, maybe I can get it out within a few days. Or, more of the cinematic side. I'm gonna try to kick a vibe out with this one. Got some good drone shots in there. Got some different cinematography going on, or videography. Maybe it's not cinematography, but yeah, that's what we got going on. So appreciate y'all for coming through. The chat is definitely slowed up, so I'm guessing it is what it is. It's Saturday. People are probably going to start getting out there tonight. I probably should maybe see if I'm gonna get out tonight too. So so yeah, it's been real, y'all. Appreciate it. And keep supporting. Watch the channel, watch the videos. Even go back, watch some of the old videos. You never know, you might see something you like back there. All right. Appreciate y'all. I'm out.